All right, this is a video where I am going to attempt to answer the question, how did I decide what career was right for me? And this was a question that was asked by a high school class yesterday. I gave a talk to the students of Delano High School in California, and I just want to quickly give a shout out to the school and their teacher, Mrs. Duran from Delano High School. Thank you for having me. It was an honor to come and speak at your school, and I would love to come back. So anyway, the students asked me all kinds of amazing questions, but I would say the biggest theme, was really that they wanted to really understand like what to do with your life, and that is not that much different from many of the other colleges and medical schools and high schools that I've gone to. And they all kind of want to know, how do we figure out what to do with our life? What I'll do is I think I'll maybe answer the more specific question about like, how did I figure out what career I wanted to do? I think that I felt a lot like many of you in high school. I really just didn't know. I remember having a guidance counselor, and he's like, well, what do you want to do, and what do you want to study? And I was like, I don't know. I was like a young teenager. I initially thought maybe I would like to be a famous football player or a basketball player. We all looked up to, at that time, it was Michael Jordan and Walter Payton was like the hero of football. And I remember, I also, Michael Jackson, when I was a kid, he was like, he was like my hero. And then of course there were like the people of Saturday Night Live, like comedians like Dana Carvey. And these were all the kind of the things that I thought, oh man, these are my heroes, But then when I was at school, I was like learning all this stuff, and nobody had really told me that about like a pathway to going and doing some of these things. And so I just remember feeling super lost freshman year of high school, and feeling lost sophomore year of high school. I do remember finally very much getting to enjoy this in biology class. We had the unit on human anatomy. And you know what? Human anatomy just interested me. And it was just something where I'm like, wow, I really liked anatomy. I liked memorizing all the names of the muscles and the bones. And so that was sort of like the beginning. I still was very lost, but I thought maybe it's going to be something like medicine, And then of course you start telling people, hey, I like anatomy, maybe that, whatever. And then it grows from there. And I was still, I got to my junior year and still taking a lot of classes that didn't really seem like they were relevant to me, and they were difficult. I didn't really do that well in high school, at least not the first 3 years. I finally got serious my senior year, and I did really well, and I think I got all A's my senior year. But I don't know, I think that's because when I was a junior, all of a sudden I noticed there were all of my classmates were applying to college, and I thought, oh wow, I guess that's the thing to do, I can easily see how you just kind of go along with what people are doing. And I was fortunate to go to this really good public high school in the Chicago area, and everybody was applying to college. So I thought, oh my gosh, I need to do that too. And so that's what I did. And I had, I got a real late start, and I went and I was visiting a couple schools, and I didn't really get accepted into probably most of the schools I applied to, but I did get into a couple, and I think that they were, you know, um, I think that they were kind of recognized that I was a late bloomer and I had good grades my senior year, so they were happy about that, and ultimately decided to go to Augustana College. It was close to home, and I met the cross country coach, Paul Olson, and when I met him and he made me feel like I was important and I was going to get to run cross country, I felt like I was going to belong there. And then I just heard that they were like, that was a school that was known for doing like well in terms of getting, like, I think that the students that were pre-med, they had a pretty high matriculation rate to medical school. And so even though I wasn't really convinced about medical school or becoming a doctor, I did kind of think, okay, the next step for me is college and continuing to get an education, and then we'll kind of just see, and then, try to set myself up for a successful application to medical school. But at the time, I was like, I didn't know for sure that was going to happen. I just was trying to I maybe just take the next step and go with it. And some people had told me that, listen, if you want to do something in science, like a health sciences, if you start off pre-med and it's a difficult major, then changing from there should be relatively easy, as opposed to, going and doing something and then deciding to do pre-med later on. I'm not saying that you need to do that, because I know plenty of people that actually didn't. They started off doing something else and then graduating and then completely changing their mind and then going and trying and then having to, take classes and then applying to med school after having been out. And so and that's totally fine. You don't really need to have it all figured out. You just don't. You just need to take the next step. And there's just no way to know for sure. You don't just get to be practicing medicine or just try to practice medicine as a high school senior or someone in college. You can go shadow and you can kind of see what they think, see what it looks like to you, but there's so many years you have to go through, and so it's very difficult to know how you're going to feel by the time you get through another, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and then you're finally an intern, and then you've got to do an entire residency, and that's probably another 4 years. It's we're talking another 16 years minimum, and you're an entirely different person by then. You may have a family, you may have different interests, but all that's okay. It's all good. I just kept choosing yes to kind of that path. And since nothing else really jumped out at me, I just kept saying yes. But I just, the whole time I was very much I'm not sure, but I think this. And I think that that's fine to do that. And I also think it's fine to change your mind. What I like about what I'm doing ever since I finished, I guess I finished residency and fellowship, was I've been trying to give myself chances to get back to and experiment with things that I really wish I had done when I was younger. So for the last 6 years, I've been very seriously taking piano lessons, and I couldn't really dedicate myself to piano like when I was a medical student and an intern, not seriously anyway. And I ran an Ironman, and I did that after training. I wouldn't have been able to do an Ironman during medical school. I started learning about writing, and I'm thinking about writing a book. So just because you say no to a few things now does not mean that it's no forever. So, don't worry about it. Don't worry too much. Do your best. Try to pick something that really lights you up and gets you excited, and then go and see if you're truly fascinated, and then start developing skills. And you can always change. So just take it one year at a time, and you can always change. So anyway, that's it. And I'll just conclude this video by saying, like, hey, I do practice medicine now, but I'm constantly thinking about trying other things. And I'm really glad that I get to practice medicine, but it's fun to just try new things, try writing, like right now I'm doing songwriting. So anyway, look, best of luck to you. Thanks again to the students of Delano High School and to the teachers for making me feel welcome, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.